Johansson here with us now. He's had a chance to read through the criminal complaint, which is lengthy. What have you learned, Brad?
This is the affidavit in support of the complaint from one of the FBI officers involved in it, and I'm going to go through some of this to probably give you a little bit of an idea of what this complaint entails. Christopher Lee Cornell is also known as Raheel Mahrus Ubaydah, and they found him through Twitter and what they call a CHS, which would be a confidential human source that was involved in communication with Cornell through Twitter. So they first connected with each other on Twitter in August of 2014 and started sharing some of the messages. Now, this person was a person who was involved in cooperating with the FBI in order to obtain favorable treatment with respect to his criminal exposure on an unrelated case, supplied information to the FBI through these Twitter encounters. As I said, they began discussing this in August, and Cornell stated that he wanted to go forward with, quote, violent jihad, and opined that he would be a way of supporting ISIL. Quotes on Twitter, "I believe that we should just wage jihad under our own orders and plan attacks on everything." Another quote, "We already got thumbs up from the brothers over there and Anwar al-Awlaki before his martyrdom and many others." And yet another quote, "I believe that we should meet up, make our own group in alliance with the Islamic State here and plan operations ourselves." They had a meeting in November the 10th and the 11th of 2014. He explained that they would conduct a reconnaissance effort on the security for certain government buildings, including the U.S. Capitol, and then execute a plan of attack on the U.S. Capitol. Specifically, they would build, plant, and detonate bombs near the U.S. Capitol and then use firearms to shoot and kill employees of officials in the U.S. Capitol. They identified a gun store, which would be this one that we have been speaking of, nearby that would sell Smith & Wesson semi-automatic rifles. Then on January 13th and 14th, they met again, discussed the final steps in order to travel to Washington, D.C., execute the plan, and when they arrived at the gun store, that's when the arrests would be made, and that's what we've seen now. We've talked to John Dean at this store, who's obviously been extremely helpful in doing that, understanding that the FBI has been involved in this. So this is a plan that was originally, according to Cornell and what the FBI has said, to be executed back in December of 2014. But the plan got pushed back a little bit. The meetings continued. They continued throughout this, and obviously this was an extremely tense time until they made it to the gun store to make sure that they got that, and then they thwarted the attack.
And what you just told us really bears out what we have been hearing all along, which is that Cornell was not necessarily directed by ISIS, but rather had allegedly came up with this plot in support of ISIS.
Became sympathetic, said this is what we should do if we're going to support ISIL, and we will head over to Washington. We will conduct our own plan. You help me. We'll get the guns. I'll show you how to do these bombs. Also within this, he says that they watched videos together of how to both build bombs and detonate bombs that they plan to do in Washington, D.C.
Well, thank goodness they've gotten him.
And obviously more details will continue to come.
For sure. Thank you, Brad.
Okay.
The story is developing, as you can tell, by the minute. And as soon as we get more information, which I